What's up, Dragon Ball Super community? This is Kyle Chris here, bringing you guys another Dragon Ball Super video. And today we're doing a deck profile here for a set 16 Hatchiyack list that I have I've been kind of constructing a little bit. I've done a little bit of play testing. Just a leader that I've always enjoyed since it's come out. Actually, this is the first leader I ever built with playing Dragon Ball. So before I get into the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. All that fun stuff. Hit the bell for notifications so you guys can keep up whenever we do post videos. And comment. Let me know what you guys think of my content as always. So, first permanent on this card. You can only play black battle cards, and this card cannot attack. So, this was a topic of discussion. I know I saw this in a few of the placings for some of the PPG events. People were playing this card. I know, I think one of the guys said that he found out later that it didn't actually work. But these cards play tokens. You cannot play these cards in this deck. So if you're building this leader, if you haven't played in a while, please make sure you read the leader in its entirety. These two cards do not work. This card, you can play it for 1 energy, but then after that, it doesn't do anything because you don't get to play the actual token. And you can't use this to play a token and negate. It just ends up being a worse power burst. You're just taking a life, you're not getting any other value off of it. So make sure you guys read that. Second effect, whenever a turn player attacks with a battle card, then they become under this effect where they can only attack with battle cards that are 8 energy or more, essentially. So anything that's 7 or less cannot attack unless the card that you attacked with is under that amount and has dual attacks. You can attack with multiple of 1 battle card. So basically, dual attackers are very good against Hatchiyack, but also dual attackers are very good in Hatchiyack. So it's kind of a catch-22 there. Activate main, you place the top card of your deck underneath your leader. Next top card goes in the drop area, and then you draw the next card. And once you have 3 cards underneath your leader, you can then draw a card. You place the card underneath him in the drop area, and you awaken. And on this side, same permanent as before with the battle cards not being able to attack. And then when he attacks, he gains 5k and draws a card. So essentially, this is going to be a 60 card build. And the idea of Hatchiyack, if you don't know, for the most part, is just to out-resource your opponent. It is very hard to kill Hatchiyack. It is an impenetrable fortress against some matchups. Other matchups, you're playing late game, you're just trying to make sure you grab your silver bullet, especially against blue, because blue has so many different ways of being able to beat Hatchiyack. That's really the biggest weakness to this deck. It's definitely going to be blue. So first card is going to be probably, I would say, the most important card in the deck, which is going to be your Unison, because it's the only card that you really can't recur at any point. 2-drop, +1 draw 1, -2, you tax your opponent with attacking battle cards. This is your most important card. I really wish they would print another Unison by now that you can use in Hatchiyack. Currently, with set 17 on the horizon, the Towa, all the Towa archetype does not work with Hatchiyack, so you can't play really any of it and actually have value with it. The Mirror Unison is just trash with this deck because you can't play any skillless or I mean, you can play skillless, but you can't play any tokens, so can't do that. It just doesn't feel very good. You're not a Demon Realm race. A lot of the token stuff, like a lot of the skillless archetypes just don't work. So we're kind of just waiting. Hopefully the set afterwards, maybe we'll get a Unison that actually works with Hatchiyack. But until then, this is the only Unison that we run. If we do ever get a better one, we'll probably run a split, maybe 3 and 3, maybe 4 and 4. Really just depends on how that Unison works. But definitely finding maybe a 20k Unison or something that's beefy, that can draw, would be incredible for Hatchiyack. But until then, we got good old Bardock, good old Reliable. The only 1-drop battle card I run in the deck outside of a negate is going to be Kami. Kami is incredibly powerful in this format right now. It's a 1-drop draw 1. It has deflect, and then you can tap 2 if your opponent has more than 4 or more battle cards. You can KO everything on your board and on your opponent's board, ignoring barrier that is 4k or less. So it does not. The first part actually will. The first part of the requirement will actually count skillless battle card. It will count tokens, but the second effect will not KO the tokens because it goes by energy cost. But Vegeta Trunks is a very, very powerful deck. This card essentially just demolishes their entire board. So if they just start building a board to play Xeno Cell or whatever, they got 2 Trunkses on board, a Vegeta, a Poutine. You just play this bad boy, draw a card, and then just kill everything. It's incredibly good. U7 is also works well against U7. U7 likes to build a board sometimes. Definitely something to really look into as a card. Very, very good card. And then most people know this stuff here. This is the Gogeta package, and this is really all we run for the Gogeta package, outside of one other tech card that's in the deck. But this is our main targets for the 8-drop Gogeta. which is a very, very small package. It's definitely something that you need to run in the deck, because this is still one of the best 4-drops that you can run in this deck, and the fact that it's over an 8 cost. So costs 4 to play, but it is an 8 cost battle card, so it does get over your leader requirement. But this being a negate, this being your super combo, just the easiest way of being able to run utility to play the Gogeta. But with blue and yellow being still very good, this card's not incredibly powerful against those matchups. It's basically just a charge fodder, because you're never going to play them unless they have no actual way of stopping it, like no God Sealing, no Steadfast. If they have those cards, this card's just a waste of 4 energy. So just something to keep in mind. I try not to run too many Gogeta stuff in this deck, just because it hurts really bad when you waste 4 energy for it. This is a very cool tech for the deck here. Towa Calling the Horde. This is a 1-drop search top 5 for a black android or demon realm race, energy cost of 3 or less, or you search out a Unison that costs 2, which basically means we can search out the Bardock. This card's going to have some other targets in the deck, which we'll get to. Second part of this is you do have a Spear Boost effect, which has a Spear Boost 1 for 1 black energy, and then it has a comma with then an extra effect that says if your leader's a Finn card. That part actually doesn't matter. The fact you can actually Spear Boost for 1 energy, you can actually trigger your Bardock effect, which then can warp a battle card from the drop area. So something against like U7 Goku, this card actually chooses the card that you can warp. So you actually can choose their super combos, you can choose their 8-drop, you can choose their Vegeta secret rare, and then it's gone. So this is actually incredibly powerful against that matchup. Definitely something to look into if you're going to be playing the matchup. Just a little cool little tech card. And we do run a evolve target for this Towa, which is going to be the Umbral Might Towa. This is a 3-drop dual attack 15k. You can evolve on top of a Towa 2 or less. So you can evolve on top of this. When this card's played, you draw a card, and then your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand and or 2 battle cards on board and send them to the warp. If they do not, you choose one of your opponent's Unisons with energy with 4 markers or more, and you gain control over it. This card can subsequently just destroy an archetype that you're playing against, right? Something like King Cold, something like I don't know, U7, right? Being able to steal a Unison. Blue matchups, this card's really, I would say, never going to come down, just because God Sealing is a thing. But any deck that runs a Unison, and even if they kill it once it comes on board, it's fine, but the effect's still going to go off if they don't warp the card from their hand. Or if they decide to warp the cards, you just neg them 2 cards from their hand. That's pretty good value, right? I really like that effect on it. Also, it is a dual attacker, so this will get 2 swings off if you do attack with it. That's kind of a theme you'll see in the deck, is a lot of my attackers are going to have some sort of dual attack or something on it. Another thing for Towa, just to note, is you can actually search out one of your best side deck cards, which is Deborah Ritual at Hand, which is your hand control hate, because this is a demon realm race. Towa can actually search it out. Gives you a very, very good target that you can actually search out, and this is also searchable as well here, so that's pretty cool. Next is Crimson Strike. I actually would run a 4th one. I just don't have my 4th SPR yet, so we're only running 3 right now. But this card makes your early game have meaning. So one thing in Hatchiak for the first two turns of the game is that you're not really playing anything, right? You're charging and passing, and you're holding energy up for your defensive turn. This card allows you to play defensive and not lose hand size. So 2 different effects. Activate Battle. You choose a card, a black card. And I'm sorry, if your leader and all your energy is black, which it will be, you choose one of your cards and it gets 10k combo for the battle. Then, or I'm sorry, 10k power for the battle. That matters. Second effect, if it's your turn, you warp a card on your opponent's board, higher energy cost than what they currently have. Or you draw a card and you mill 3. The mill's not super important, but the fact that you can just, it's just like a pseudo super combo. You basically just pay 1, draw a card, gain 10k, right? Running 4 of these, I think, is probably the best idea, and it just allows you to have a defensive card where you don't have to enter the combo step sometimes, because sometimes you want your opponent to go through, so then they can waste some energy possibly, and maybe you're rivaling stuff and doing whatever. But this is good. It also just allows you to push for game too, because your leader goes up to 20. If you tack on 2 of these in a Champa, you're at 50 double strike. That's really hard to combo out of without actually using any super combos, right? So definitely run 4 of these if you have them. Like I said, I have multiple of the foil ones. I just don't have 4 SPRs. I wanted to have all of them match for the video. Another good defensive card is going to be Power Burst. Simple card, you negate, grab back a 1-drop black battle card from your drop or warp, add it to your hand. So our 2 targets obviously is Goku and then Kami for this particular card here. So you grab back either one of these cards, add it to your hand, and you can also grab it from the warp, like I said. Also, it is sparking 5, so you can actually take a life to activate this card from your hand if you so choose. Now this is kind of cool though. This is one of the reasons why you may want to burst sometimes, is when you use Crimson Strike. This card obviously goes to the drop here, so that's 1. You can draw and then mill 3. So then you're putting 4 cards into your drop area. So if you have 1 card in there right now, you do this, that's 4. Then you have enough to actually sparking to negate another attack. So you're using 1 energy essentially to negate 2 cards, 2 card attacks. Petrification. This is another amazing card here. You pitch a card from your hand, negate the attack. Choose a battle card on your opponent's board, ignoring barrier. Cannot activate skills. Attack, be used in the combo area until the end of your next turn. So the card basically just becomes a stone petrified version of itself, and then it just can't do anything. So what's also cool is, you should know this if you are playing against this card or playing this card stops on pending autos. So for instance, like if your opponent plays 8-drop Gogeta on you, right? They swing with it. You can petrify the card, and then this auto does not trigger. So they don't warp cards from your hand. They don't warp cards on your board. If your opponent swings with the 8-drop Goku and U7 and you petrify it, their effect does not go off. They don't get to look at your hand. So these are things that you should probably know if you're going to be playing this card, or if you play against it, so that way you know how the ruling goes. This card is insanely good. So using this card definitely in this deck as a good defensive piece, especially against cards that have dual attack. You just want to stop them from actually activating stuff. So actually when you negate a card that is swinging with dual attack, the dual attack is an auto. It goes into pending. You use this, they don't restand. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool card. 2 Oceanus and 2 Deborah. These are just some other tech battle cards that we run. Obviously, Oceanus is an incredibly good floodgate. Unfortunately, it gets hit by a lot of stuff in the current meta, so it's not amazing. But there's a lot of turns where we hold up a bunch of energy, so this coming down is just more likely just going to come down most of the time. And then Deborah, this is a 2-cost. If your leader is black, and I'm sorry, if all your energy is black, this becomes a 2-cost, and it's a counterplay where you play it. The auto is you choose one of your opponent's battle cards. It cannot attack or activate skills until the end of the turn. So if your opponent drops a battle card on you, you can actually play this, and then it can attack. You choose as long as it comes down. So again, something like Red Vegeta SCR or UI Goku or a Gogeta or just something else like Xenocell even, you can actually play this into Xenocell. If they have 5 energy, they still will rip 3 cards from your hand, but then that card cannot attack. So very, very good card to run. Both of these are just very good black staples to run in this deck for defensive purposes. Another one is going to be Fu Mission Accomplished. You remove this card from your drop area, and you get to choose any battle card 7 or less from your drop or warp and add it to your hand. Essentially, any of our battle cards in here outside of thwarting, we can add to our hand. You can add Deborah, you can add Oceanus, you can add actual super combos to your hand too, which is very important. So for 2 energy, it's just get anything back, and since we do mill stuff, this is very good to actually have in the deck. The other mill protection card that we run is Trunks Overseeing Time. Power Overseeing Time. This is a 2-drop overall, 20k double strike. When you play this, you grab any battle card from your warp and add it to your hand. So any battle card I have in here, which includes the thwarting, and then any battle card that I have left in my deck that I'm going to show you guys, you can actually add back with this card. This is very, very good to get as well. You also can use Fu to grab this back. So if you end up milling this card, but you need this card to grab something, you also can grab it back off of that. And you can grab it back. You can actually bottom deck it with this next card here, which is Lord Slug Ghost Warrior. You free play this, your leader's Hatchiyak, and you put 3 black battle cards from your drop between 3 and 7 back into your deck, the bottom of your deck in any order. So any of these other cards you can basically shuffle back into your deck. When you play this card, you can place it in the drop area once it's played in the battle area, and then you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards at higher energy cost than their current energy and set into the warp. So it is a free version, essentially, of Crimson Strike here, right? Like, it's something you don't have to enter the combo area with. You just play it, warp it, and now you have a, you just have a free removal basically, right? You also can't attack with it if you don't have another attacker, so it can be a free 15k battle card to swing at something to clear it and then use it to warp another battle card. So it has a lot of utility in that aspect. Definitely something that you should be running either 3 or 4 of. Some more clearing here is going to be Finn. This card's absolutely snapped. I would definitely side deck a third one if I was playing this deck in a best of 3 tournament. It's a 15k deflect. This card is played. From your hand, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards. I'm sorry, your opponent chooses one of their cards, one of their battle cards. Every other battle card then gets sent to the warp. So this is a board wipe for 2 energy essentially. So you play it, they choose something, and then everything else gets sent to the warp. What's good about this over something like Kami is that this pops tokens as well. So your opponent chooses one card and then everything else gets warped. Doesn't matter the energy cost, as long as it doesn't have barrier or has an effect where it can't be removed by skills, it goes to the warp. And it's deflect proof. So blue and yellow can't really test this card too much. It's going to come down. The effect's going to activate. This is a very powerful card in this deck, which is the Poutine Mind Wiped Malevolent. So this fits the slot of a card called Demon God Demeter, right? This card was like the shit in this deck, right? This was your 2-drop Overrealm, warped a card on board, drew you a card, and then just kept swinging and just warping cards from your opponent's hand, right? Well, problem is that this card is so easy to remove now in the current meta because of all the Realm of the God cards. They all remove a card higher than your opponent's energy cost, and you're going to play this on turn 3 more likely. Turn 2, turn 3, and this is just 1 energy removal. Like, it's just going to get removed really quickly. So it's not really doing much after that. So we took it out, and we swapped it out with the Demon God Poutine. This is a 3 Overrealm, 2 energy cost, Dark Overrealm, 5k blocker. When this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost of 4 or less, switch to active mode and gain control over it. Why this card is good is because if your opponent has a very powerful 4 cost or less battle card on board, why don't you just steal it and then use that to attack, right? So this card has a ton of usage in almost every matchup in the format, except for like Gogeta Xeno, because everything is a 6 cost. But you can use this card to steal like the 4-drop Frieza from U7, right? Android 17. In blue, you can steal Vegeta the Interceptor, which is a dual attacker, right? And Sin, you can steal the 4-drop blocker 19k guy. You can steal their Haze if they play. You can steal their Nova if they play it. You can steal their Natron Dragon. Like, there's so many things you can steal. And this card being just 3 Overrealm is incredible. Doesn't cost so much to play. It is not searchable by the Towa because this is a Demon God, not a Demon God realm or a Demon Realm race, but whatever, it's fine. It is a 3 cost, so we can actually put it back with our Ghost Warrior, which is cool. But this card just being able to just board wipe something really, really small and grab it, and then you gain those effects because it's not negated, is incredibly powerful. So definitely a card you should probably run in this deck if you're going to play it. 2 Kai Negates. Again, it's a 3 cost, so we can grab it back. You have 3 or more battle cards. I'm sorry, if you or your opponent have 3 more cards in the warp, this becomes a 1 cost. Negates the attack, and then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and warp it for the turn. Again, a very powerful card, just very, very good for defense for that one energy cost. Let me remove something with dual attack. Get off the board for the turn. Next is going to be 4-drop Sin. This card is, I don't know. So this was the card that you would play into blue matchups because blue had very little barrier removal, right? It's a deflect, double strike barrier blocker that activate main or battle. You spirit boost, you restand this card, your opponent mills a card, right? So this was a 20k dual attack, double strike barrier blocker. Like that's a lot of keyword skills there, right? So this could swing twice, and the idea of this card is you play this to remove the Boo Unison, right? The problem is they have Kale now, right? So for 7 energy, they can just wipe this. 2, if you play against blue-yellow, they can just Kefla this, right? And Kefla does kind of hurt this deck a lot. So that kind of sucks. If you're playing against blue-yellow, this card's somewhat good sometimes. If you can use it to clear Unison, it's incredibly good. Because your opponent's not going to be able to really get around this too. And also the milling effect sometimes does help too. This card's incredibly good though. Definitely would run this card, at least as a 2 of. Again, this is a 4 cost, so it fits for our Ghost Warrior, and 5k combo, which is important as well. 2 King Vegeta. Kingdom Lost, another 2-drop that you can play. Opponent has 3 more battle cards in the 3 more cards in their warp. This card costs 2. It's a 19k double strike barrier. When this card's played, you warp a card from your opponent's hand by your choosing, or you warp a battle card on board. And then when this is in rest mode, your opponent attacks your leader. You have to warp a card first. Again, another barrier card, very, very good into a lot of matchups. Being double strike, being able to just swing at something and knock off 2 markers, or just being able to swing for face is very, very good as well. And then this having to be cleared before your opponent can actually attack your leader just gets rid of one battle card attack or 1 leader attack or whatever, right? Also, you can grab this back off of Ghost Warrior and off of your Fu, so it's recyclable as well. Very good card. 2 of the 6-drop Dark King. So this is one of your big boss monsters. So this card comes down for 4. It's a 25k deflect triple strike. When this card swings, you choose 2 battle cards in your opponent's drop area and send them to the warp. Then if they have 10 or more cards in their warp, this card restands. So it becomes a 25k triple strike dual attack. Auto, when your opponent activates a counter skill during this card's battle. So this is when this card's attacked or when this card attacks. So that's just very important to keep in mind. So if your opponent attacks this for some reason and you negate and they like counter, they have to warp a life. That's just a very interesting fact that you should probably know. But if you swing at this and your opponent negates, you get to choose one of their life and send it to the warp, which is very important. Also, this card chooses cards in your opponent's drop area, meaning you can warp stuff from U7. Very important. That's gonna be a matchup that you're gonna see a lot of. So having cards that say you choose cards and send them to the warp is much, much better than a lot of other cards you can run. So we run 2 of this guy. Very good. The last 5 cards here are all of the one-ofs. So we run 1 Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, 2 black, 6 Overrealm. You play it, draw a card, warp a battle card, ignoring barrier. This is to get rid of big battle cards or something like Slug. If they have it on board, they don't have a lot of other things on board. Also can be used as fusion fodder for Gogeta, since Gogeta doesn't ask for a fusion keyword skills. It just asks for the keyword names, so the character names. So you can use this. 1 Jiren, Survival of the Fittest. Android 17 is one of the worst cards for this deck to play into now. It is really the only bad card that can hurt this deck a lot, since 10-drop Fu's gone, right? So we main deck one of these. We would definitely side a second one. This card's the other card that actually hurts this deck, which is 8-drop Fu. 25k triple attack. Opponent activates a skill. They have to warp a card from their hand every time, and just swings 3 times. It's very, very sticky, very, very annoying to deal with. We have obviously your double strike Kai, something that you should probably run in every deck. But this deck is also very good as well because your leader becomes threatening with all of your combo power, your Crimson Strikes, and then this. And the secret rare we run is going to be Supreme Kai of Time, Brainwashed. So this card actually, I feel should be tested a lot more in black decks, because of its, for one, of its end game potential, and 2 of its floodgate potential, right? So you play this as a 40k double strike Servant. Servant means that this card gains 10k, and it cannot restand itself, which is, it's definitely going to be a problem. This card doesn't have the permanent that says when it's removed. This card gets taken out of the game. So if this card does die somehow when it's on board, you actually can grab it back with the where's it at? You actually can grab it back with the trunks, which is kind of cool. So you actually can play this out. You can play this out, grab the Kai back, swing, and then activate battle to play Kai again. Now, if you remove it using activate the main or battle, then it doesn't. Then you can't get it back. But if it does die on board sometimes, because sometimes you actually you kind of just want to play this card sometimes, right? Like in this deck, you can play this card and just, okay, I'm gonna swing. Okay, 50k double strike, right? Let's say they kill this card somehow, then you can use this, grab it back, and then you can use it to play back out. So it's pretty cool. So activate main, you can play it out if you have 3 more energy. Second effect, for 1 energy, if your leader's black and you remove this card from the game, until the start of your next turn, your opponent can't attack with battle cards or unisons unless they choose 1 card in their life and place it in the drop area each time. So essentially it gives you a kind of like a black floodgate, like a permanent on their side. If they're really, really low life, this card becomes detrimental because then they can't really attack with anything. So they get a leader swing, and if you negate that, they really can't do much else. This card's really good. I definitely think Kai and Pan, the other Kai, and Pan are definitely the best options right now for black. But this card I feel like at some point will be viable. The fact that it has Servant will be very, very useful in next set, since we are getting a black Overlord card, which we can actually bottom deck this to draw one, and then we just recycle it back into our deck. So definitely something to look out for. I definitely think this card will be seeing some playability. I know the Gogeta player who won Kentucky played this card in his Gogeta Xeno deck, which I think surprised a lot of people. So I definitely think you guys should be looking out for this card. If you don't have it already, buy it. It's like $60. This card eventually, if all it's going to take is one person to top with it again, and this card's going to go up again. So that's what I have for you guys today. Hopefully you guys like the deck. Try it out, see what you guys think. This will be a deck I will probably feature on the channel at some point, maybe in our pod videos or in some discussions. But let me know what you guys think of the deck. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.